I recall first waking up at around 3:30 in the morning, and then I stayed up until roughly 3 in the afternoon. I fell back asleep, woke up around 5:30 p.m. And shortly after I woke up, my laptop did an update that resulted in me losing all the tabs and programs I had open, but I was able to restore the tabs when I reopened Microsoft Edge. There was initially a hardware error in that apparently the game requires that hardware acceleration be enabled on Google browsers, except Edge isn't a Google browser, it's a Microsoft browser. I first had coffee around 8 in the morning. I felt fine throughout the day for the most part. But for some of it, I felt primarily from morning to noon, I felt a bit anxious. Maybe it's better described as a bit hyper, which might have something to do with not having anything to eat until roughly noon, noon to 1 in the afternoon, when Dad went off to get a haircut and go to Wegmans. This episodic event started up within the first hours of today, roughly around the time I woke up for the first time today. I completed the first handful or so of the storyline quests. The steak is a few days old, but still pretty good. This is a pretty good salad. The next Starfoam drawing project is going to be based off a somewhat elegantly framed picture of Dad as a baby. And this is going to be for his parents, but more toward his mom. I haven't started it yet. I initially thought about using a piece like this. since that's the kind of shape a person tends to take. Throughout their life, from infancy to old age. Yeah, but then he suggested I use a styrofoam piece with this shape. So that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. And I can see how that might be beneficial. Since that way I can get a sort of frame. By drawing an oval. Something I don't think I've done in a while. I spent the morning to noon hours working on a video so that I could get the audio in order to show how the TV is on in the background for the witness officer scene. For the ringtone in which the boss calls, I decided to go for the VZW Airwaves Verizon ringtone. I'm pretty sure you can use it since there's a YouTube video with 300k views that just consists of that ringtone being recorded. I used a third-party tool in order to download in order to convert that YouTube video into an MP3 with the highest setting of 320 kbps, which might mean kilobytes per second. Then, using a text-to-speech voice within Vyond Studio, since the kind of text-to-speech voices I find on the BlueStacks 5 emulated narrator's voice app tend to be subpar. If you want to emulate a sort of TV show, a sort of drama like I was doing, whether that be a TV episode or a movie. It doesn't make much of a difference either way. essentially the male tannish character I created within the business friendly character creator is sitting on his bed when he gets a phone call from his boss informing him that he's suspended without pay because every single shift was filled. He wasn't selected for any shifts because his work has been subpar lately due to him permanently injuring his ankles playing basketball in high school and developing post-traumatic stress disorder from serving in the army during his 20s. And then I opted to add in that he got attacked by a moose during a hunting trip in Canada, immediately preceding that. Immediately following the military service in terms of storyline. And then lastly, to show how far he'll go to care for his family while he has essentially no income due to not having any shifts. I had him talk about how he'll donate his plasma and sperm again. And eat instant ramen noodles for 3 weeks straight while he waits for temp work. And then mow people's lawns and wash their cars. And lastly, collect cans and bottles in order to return them for their deposits on the weekends. Implying that he'll spend the whole day doing that. These are all the legal options I could think of. That's on the unrecorded employment market. Except for panhandling, because there's only so many different things I could fit in before it came redundant, and it would seem like he has infinite time in a day. There's also selling your physical belongings and opening up a lemonade stand or selling pastries. Or busking, such as by being a human statue or playing a musical instrument in public. But again, there's only so many things I can fit in without that scene becoming too long. I only needed roughly a minute of audio, and I managed to achieve that, although for the time being, I'm going to need to find the sound effect I recorded of essentially a call ending on my phone. Though, honestly, I think I'll first find the music I recorded from the game Monster Clearer for the Styrofoam Slideshow project. I have a tendency to oscillate between working on the 99th Dan Hamming episode in Camtasia 2019 and working on the Styrofoam Slideshow project within that same program. My strategy for this event is to do whichever beacon of power will give me the most. I'm not entirely sure what those things are called. That sort of thing. And no matter what I do, they don't seem to give me a name for it. I've collected 2 of the Forbidden Ruin set, but it looks enormous, like I would need 4 squares in order to fit the whole thing in, and I don't even have 1 spare square so far. I'm gonna go with whichever beacon is the most efficient. In this case, it's this one. I get 25 for each point only cost me 25 magical supplies or scrolls. The other ones cost more than that. Yeah, I already got that building earlier today. Now this one is the cheapest. I put the new Ancient Taste building here, replacing... Actually, I'm not entirely sure what that building was called, but I got it back in the Orcs and Goblins chapter, so it was a bit outdated at least. I lost some population and culture, but in exchange for that sacrifice, I gained mana production, which is something I'm going to need more of if I want to keep producing the things that I need to activate these research technologies for the Wood Elves chapter, except in this case, but for the rest, such things are needed. And obviously those things won't be needed anymore once I get to the Sorcerers and Dragons chapter. But from here on out, I am going to need more and more mana. Oh, it's called Sorcerer's Knowledge. This is some pretty good ice cream. I believe it's either vanilla or French vanilla. I'm not too sure about the difference. Maybe French vanilla is sweeter? Hey, either way, it's currently around 10. Oh, the new Mountain Halls Ancient Wonder looks pretty good. And this is the new daily exclusive.